What's up guys, my name's Tyson, Strong Geelong gym owner and under 105 Australia's strongest man and strongman competitor. Today what we're going to do is we're going to go through some stone technique and some of the movement patterns which can help improve your stones and get you stronger and better at lifting big rocks. So hugging rocks is another one of the fundamental strongman movements that is iconic, and you will have seen through World's Strongest Man videos from the earliest days in varying capacities again, whether it's a max stone, stone over bars or stone to platforms. What we're going to do today is just set the fundamentals for the stones, because there's a whole different myriad of ways that we can lift these things, okay? Today we're just going to look at how to pick it up, how to lap it, and how to do the extension part. And in later videos we'll cover things like stone to shoulder, throwing it over a bar, looking at different, I guess, finer points of the stone lifting. But for today what we're going to do is we're going to work with this 80 kilo stone from stand or submit and just go through some of the movement patterns. So your first pick up and your setup creates successful lifts, okay? And this is one that I see done wrong a lot of times. Even in high level competitions, the stone is one that a lot of people fail in terms of they're definitely strong enough, but the movement or how they're performing the movement isn't efficient enough, okay? So the setup is really where we start to win the game, okay? So we're standing over the stone, not behind the stone, because it's gonna make it a lot harder. We're standing over the stones, feet either side. As we come down to the stone, we're creating really tight hands. So we're opening up my hands and nice and rigid, yeah? Lock these things on. We're going to shuffle those under the stone, okay? So nice and wide, splay your fingers, coming under the stone as far as possible to grip the stone hard, okay? That's the first point. The second point is your forearms. They're not passive. We're going to squeeze and crush the stones with our forearms. Directly in the middle of the stone, so it's not going to roll forward or back. We bring our hands underneath and our hands underneath. We have our feet either side of the stone. And once we get our hands underneath, we lock on our forearms as well and squeeze the stone so we've got grip. From there, like a deadlift, we're going to pick the stone up into our lap. Once again, hands either side, directly in the middle. Forearms directly in the middle. Opening up my fingers, squeezing with my forearms. I'm going to stand through the ground and pick up the stone. That is step one. Now that our hand position is right, and we've got our forearms locked on, hip position becomes really important. So once you've set up, as you come down to the stone, it is not a squat. We don't drop our hips down low, but at the same time, we don't want to have our hips too high and be doing a stiff-legged deadlift. As you come down to the stone, keep tightness through the hamstrings, come down to the stone, and in a semi, it's probably a little bit lower than what your deadlift position would be, but you don't want to drop too low because your hips are just going to shoot first anyway, okay? So keep it tight, push the hips back, create tightness through those hips, and set a position where I'm in a strong pull position. Once again, that Goldilocks factor, I'm not too high, but I'm not too low, I'm just right. So when I pick it up, everything comes together. Okay, so our next step is lapping the stone. So now that we know how to pick it up, we're gonna focus on bringing it into the lap for the extension, okay? So when we pick up the stone and bring it into our lap, there's a couple little small movements which make a whole lot of difference when it gets heavy. When I pick up the stone and lap it, I don't want to be sitting in the same position because I'm going to create a big gap for the stone. I still want to be able to support the stone in my lap. So what we're going to do, as we pick up the stone, I'm going to shuffle my feet in. Okay, once again, I pick the stone and I shuffle my feet in a little bit closer. So when I sit back down into position, I have a rack or a strong hold for the stone that I can drive out of. If I'm still out wide and I'm trying to support the stone by dropping my knees in and sitting here, this is not a strong position to squat and drive the stone out of the hole. This is not an efficient movement. We would never squat like this. We'll never front squat like this. So why would we lift a stone like this? Okay. So as you pick up the stone, we want to create a powerful position to be able to extend the stone from. So talking back about our lapping, once again, long arms, long hands, tight through the arms, we squeeze the stone, we pick it up to mid-thigh, and we shuffle in. And now I'm comfortable, okay? I can sit in this position for as long as I like. And when I go to extend, I'm gonna hug the stone tight and drive it up. But here, I can hold as long as I need to, okay? So I'm comfortable here. This is quite low. You might find that you don't have the mobility to get this low, but it's more about the leg position, the feet position, and making sure that everything's in nice and tight for that extension. So now that we've learned how to pick it up, so tight hands, tight forearms, keeping in the middle of the stone and driving to the hips, we've also learned how to lap it, so shuffle the feet closer, push the knees out a little bit, sit into the hole. We're now gonna learn how to do the extension. Okay, now there's a few little pointers on this as well, and especially to make sure that we maximize our power output on this drive phase. So, picking up the stone, what we're gonna do, as we pick up the stone, shuffle our feet in and lap it, we're going to freestyle our hands over the top. We never want our elbow to be underneath the stone. It either has to be equal to or greater than, okay? That's to save our bicep. But also, especially when you get a bigger stone, you're going to want to be over the top to create maximal leverage. So, equal to on a smaller stone, like there's 80, you will find it's a little bit more comfortable to go over the top as they get bigger. In fast motion, hands tight, forearms tight, pick. So you'll notice when I get that stone into my lap, I'm not spending time in the bottom, okay? Think pause front squat, think pause squats, they're a lot harder. If I can maximize that time by pulling into my lap, shuffling my feet close and bouncing out of the hole, I'm gonna create more power and a quicker drive to get a little bit more velocity or acceleration up from the bottom. On the extension, another important factor is that chest position. Okay, so when you are in that lap position, you want to make sure that your chest is hugging the stone. So as you extend out of the hole, it is already sitting nice and high. If it's sitting low and you're trying to get to a platform or a higher bar, you're going to have a lot harder time, or you're just not going to get it over that bar. So as we pick up the stone, so coming down, we're picking it up. As we shuffle in, we're hugging it tight to the chest. It's not down on my stomach for a low extension. I'm wrapping my whole body around the stone, my elbows slightly higher, and I'm sitting it high on my chest, so when I extend it, it's nice and high already. I've got a few clients on my roster who don't quite have the mobility to get down into the bottom of that stone position, which I was showing. So with those guys, even with a higher hip position, if you pick up the stone, and this is as high as you, low as you can get, so hips a lot higher, it doesn't change anything. All it changes is that bounce out of the bottom, that really hard rebound. What you're going to do is still get your hands over the top, still get your chest over the stone, and from here you're going to try and create as much drive with the stone as high as possible for the extension. So there's no difference whether you've got a lower start position from the bottom or whether you've got that higher position with the hips because the mobility is limiting. It won't change the fundamentals of extending the stone. So there you go, that is our stone pick up, lap and extension. So the fundamentals of lifting up big rocks, one of my favorite events and most people's favorite kind of spectator events. So just quickly recapping, tight hands, opening up, splaying the fingers, locking them on. Tight forearms, crushing the stone. Feet either side of the stone for our pickup, making sure that our hips are in that not too high, not too low, but just right position, okay? Once we pick it up to mid-thigh, we roll it in, we shuffle the feet together for our lap position, okay? Shuffle the feet in, get ready for a strong drive in an efficient position. And last of all, but not least, freestyle hands over the top, elbow higher or equal to, and then hugging it tight and high on the chest, we drive hard out of the bottom for full extension. Thanks for watching, guys. Once again, my name is Tyson from The Strongman Way and Strong Geelong. Hope you got something out of it. Make sure you check out the other videos for more content, and happy lifting.